Hi folks, welcome back to the plot and welcome to what is officially part 1 of the Polytunnel build series. Now if you're new around here you might not know that I have a bit of a bad reputation for taking a very long time to build things like this. You can check out my greenhouse build playlist, which I think is 10, maybe 12 videos long for a tiny little 6x8 greenhouse, but I'm so proud of that. I built it to last and I think I did just about everything right. So I do like to get these things right, and the same is true of the Polytunnel. But today, a few things to show you. I've been up here a few hours already, it's been chucking it down, and the first thing I had to do was remove a bit of fence. I'll show you that in a minute actually, because I do have a couple of announcements to make as well. And the first that you might be interested in, it might be difficult viewing for some, but the plot owners of Steve's, or the plot tenants on Steve's old plot, have set up an Instagram account just for the plot. So if you do want to go over, it's pretty warts and all. It's kind of horrible to see in some ways, but I'll put a link in the description, and if you steel yourself first, you can go and see, you know, completely uncensored how Steve's plot now looks, and kind of follow their journey. I think it's called On the Nook, but yeah, I'll leave a link in the description. The second one isn't an announcement. What is it? It's a bit of maybe a slight hitch that I've run into, which is I didn't ask for permission before collecting this. Well, in fact, I did. I asked the council for permission to put this polytunnel up about 3 weeks ago, but I think they were on leave because they've just 1 hour ago got back to me and said, "Oh, JB, that's a bit big. We're not sure about that." So, oh, everyone, please cross your fingers. I have said, worst case scenario, if they deem it too big and it's against the rules, we could, if absolutely necessary, take out one of the poles, just take it down to 4, and it would go from a 10 by 20 to a 10 by 16, I think. Is that correct maths? Yes. Which would still be a very substantial tunnel. But yes, let me show you the digging I've been doing first. This is how we are looking now, and it has actually transformed the feel of this. It was one of those things, I was just kind of looking around a little bit, doing a bit of measuring, and I went, wait a minute, let's just take that out. It serves no purpose whatsoever. The kind of idea is I have a bit of a wild area underneath these trees. There's a cherry and an apple, and I'm trying to establish kind of like a mini meadow type thing. But, you know, we can nip away a little bit for a path because it will still be grass. You can still have like a pollinator lawn thing going around. Let me go over there and show you what I was looking at yesterday and asking questions on. So in the video I filmed yesterday, this was mainly the angle we were looking at, and I was sort of talking about options. Option 1, going that way, and maybe option 2, going up the center. And I've been talking about it for a while. I've been reading the comments, I've been thinking, and I had a really good chat with Jessie from plot 37, and she had a really good idea and sort of said, well, instead of having it central, which is a bit of bother because of the little cherry tree, and you know, it might just dominate. And one of the things I hadn't really thought about is this would be the northern side, and this whole bed would be quite shaded by the polytunnel. So in high summer, it's probably okay because the sun comes this way. You get quite a lot, but certainly at other times of the year, I think the polytunnel probably does block out quite a lot of light. So what is the actual plan? Well, the thinking is just bring it closer to the shared path. I'm not going to have it right up against this shared path because I just don't think that's the most sensible thing to do. I don't want my neighbours to kind of feel constricted. You know, my neighbour here, they have a greenhouse, but that's a very narrow, that's like a small part. Having a 20-foot tunnel along here just feels a bit, it just, you know, it would dominate the space a little bit, make the shared path feel a bit kind of confined, and I'm just worried about someone walking along here with a wheelbarrow, hitting a rock and, you know, scraping along the plastic or something like that. It's an easy mistake to avoid. So basically, I'm going to bring it 2 or 3 feet back from the path, and that gives me a little bit of space for kind of storing crap, probably, you know, a few pots, a bit of equipment, sort of along the tunnel. Probably put some slabs down to keep it weed free and just give a bit of a buffer, you know, on that path, and it's not going to affect any kind of growing or anything like that. It's going to maximize the space for productivity throughout the rest of the plot as well. There has been just so much to consider, but I think I've put in basically where the first pole is going to go, and that is just here. And I'm sort of in the process now of measuring out 20 foot back, and I'm going to put all the markers in. I had done it already, and then it started about here, and I thought, you know, no, let's bring it back a little bit this way, just because this is just going to be kind of dead space otherwise in front of the tunnel I'd not really use. So here we're going to have just a little path. I'm not sure about the grape. Might just kind of keep that, maybe train it up or something, you know, there's options. But I think this is probably maximizing the use of space and kind of still got that balance of aestheticness, you know, can have a little bit either end. Still got all the space over there to grow that's going to be unaffected by the tunnel. And I think that's pretty much certain. I'm pretty certain that that's where it's going to go. So I'll run over there. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned about is it blocking the view, you know, throughout the rest of the plot. I realise I'm talking an awful lot and not doing any work, my favourite thing to do. But one of the reasons, I've sort of mentioned this a bit as I've been kind of working this plot and designing it, I've always been a bit concerned about losing my line of sight from my main entrance, which we can see all the way back here. So these are my 2 greenhouses. This is the way I'd normally walk in. There's the big cherry tree, and that is going to be, you know, over there where the polytunnel is. I've got all this stuff in the way. This is going to become taller as well. This is going to become a brassica cage. And a lot of people, when I started talking about this, were like, what are you really talking about? Why do you even care? Why does it matter that you can't see the other plot? And I found that even just with this tall grass, it's really easy for me, possibly because this is still kind of a new extension, but it's so easy for me to turn up and just kind of forget about the second plot. Just spend a whole kind of session that I'm up here in the greenhouses working on the first plot, and I can do that a few times in a row. It maybe helps that I've got a lot lower maintenance things over here, things I've put in the ground and can just be left. But it's kind of playing in the back of my mind a little bit, and I am a little bit concerned. But I don't think having the polytunnel here would be an issue. I think if anything, it's just going to draw me in. It's going to draw me in. I'm going to want to come down here and have a little look in the polytunnel, and that will bring me through out to the other end to look at all the other stuff. So I think this is the right place for it. Now I'm actually going to measure these and get these all set out. One of the issues that we have with bringing it to here is the corn. But to be honest, I am desperate to get this thing built. The corn is in the way. The raspberries are going to have to be dug out, but I don't really want to keep them anyway. And you know, we've got this lovely cold period of weather, which is actually perfect for doing the hard work. I'm in my wellies and my waterproofs today. It's been chucking it down, and I came out anyway because I just want to get this done. So I've got the string line out, gonna mark all these out and get them measured. Righto, folks, quite a lot of time later. I've been measuring and measuring and measuring, and I've got about the best kind of measurements I can do. I think been using the old 3-4-5 triangle. I think I've got it pretty square, measuring some of the diagonals, but this is really just an indication. I've just got a cane in at the moment, and actually getting the anchor plates in is a bit of a different story. And really, I think I could do it with one person, but I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to start digging the actual foundation tubes. I've been seeing the comments are rolling in for the video I just posted, and there is no consensus. I tell you what, if I was hoping for consensus, you know, 80-90% of people saying, yeah, do it this way, that would have been nice. But it's almost 50-50, or everyone's got their own opinion, which I really value, and it's been really interesting and really enlightening seeing those opinions roll in, but there's just no consensus. And I think, having thought about it quite a lot, this is what works for me, so I'm going to carry on pushing on with this. But I don't want to start digging out the anchor plate foundations or anything just yet. I think there's a lot more work to be done on just the groundworks, and the first thing that need to come out are those blooming raspberries, so might as well do it now while it's nice and cool. just had to open these because the sun has come out, which is just frankly rude. And I tell you what, folks, I can't stop smiling. Actually breaking ground and getting started on this project is just brilliant. It is just brilliant. I feel so good. I could have probably spent weeks trying to decide where to put it, but I think sometimes, you know, I'm not rushing into it, but sometimes you just have to get started. You have to get stuck in, and yeah, unfortunately I've run out of time because Jess has just messaged me saying dinner's ready. That was about 15 minutes ago, so I got a bit carried away. But I can't wait to crack on with this and carry on. I'm gonna get all these ripped out, gonna come back tomorrow with Jess. Just a bit easier to measure everything, get all those diagonals nice and easy. And I think I'm gonna start digging out space for the foundation tubes. You know, I'm so desperate to get this thing up, and I am having a great time. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I can't stop smiling. So thank you ever so much for watching. An extra special thank you to my Chili Pepper tier patrons, Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Craig. Hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. My phone's ringing. I bet that's Jess. Get home, you're missing dinner.